I have to say that I feel very privileged to be a member of House of Forbes and to have all you all as cousins. So it was a really eventful trip. When I came home, I was determined to reboot the Clan Forbes Society, which had been dormant for about a decade, and to plan a trip. And unfortunately, we had to postpone it to next year. We still have one slot open. One of our females looking for a roommate, but right now it's still booked. I'm hoping to do this on a regular basis. So this is just a taste of all these experience. I'd like to do this maybe every other year, but we'll see what kind of interest there is. Now, before we go on, is there anyone else who I didn't call on who didn't have photographs? Oh, Dick, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I had a question.
Yes, sir.
I've heard mentioned a couple of times about the book.
Yeah.
And I'm not familiar with that. Have you written a book, or do you have a book on Forbes?
Thank you for asking for setup. Do I have one here? Oh, yes, I do. Hold on. Let me pop it out. I'll still talk. As a result of my trip and my photographs, I did a photographic history, like my head. And here it is. I don't know if you can see. Oh, there we go.
Well,
it disappeared.
I know, it's getting in and out of focus. It's on Amazon. It's called Castles and Mansion Houses of the House of Forbes. And we offer it on the website. It's a Clan Forbes production. It's about 28 pages long. And I shared some of my photographs, and it covers some of the castles you've seen today. And the cover is basically my background in Zoom. You can get it on Amazon for $70 because they charge an arm and a leg, or you can make a donation because we are a nonprofit 501c3 and so that you can get a donation. That is your free gift. I offer that as a free gift because I don't want to deal with state tax and fulfillment. But there is a book available. Thank you for asking. It's on Amazon, or just go to the website.
Oh, okay.
So is there anyone else who's gone on a Clan Forbes tour? Speak up, tell us where you're from and some of your highlights.
Steven's got his hand up there.
Steven.
This is Steve Forbes, the original. The other guy is a little bit younger than I am, but originally from Cleveland, Ohio, living in Norwich, Connecticut right now. So we had, my mother may have been on the tour with Maggie. Carol Forbes did a tour, back, I think it was 1990 when she went over to the castle. But we took a tour in 2000 with very good friends, included Scotland, and had a wonderful, wonderful night, Castle Forbes, and hosted by Malcolm and Ginny, and got the same tour that many of you talked about today. And, it was just a fabulous time, fabulous experience, and then we drove around and went over to Germany after we left Scotland. So that's a little bit of our history and contact with the family.
Great. Anyone else? Yes, Jude. You.
There, now can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Judy Forbes, and I'm in Anaheim, California. And about 35 years ago, my daughter and I took a trip to Scotland. It was her college graduation present from me. We didn't have the benefit of this organization or all the knowledge that you people have. We did go to Kragovar, and then we went to the town that a cousin had told us was where our great-grandparents was from. It's Ithan Wells. So we get up to Ithan Wells and don't see much of anything, but there's a school. So we go to the school, and my daughter goes in and entertains the students with being from Disneyland Town and all of that kind of thing. And the school teacher gets on the phone and calls somebody, and a few minutes later, here comes a car, and the guy says, get in the car, and he takes us into town to show us the house where my grandfather was born, and the house across the street, which is a Gordon house, and he said they were relatives but enemies. And he took us all around the town, out to the cemetery where I saw the graves of my great-great-grandparents, along with one of my grandfather's baby sisters who died as an infant before they came to the US. And towards later in the afternoon, my daughter said, "Mom, we were going to go to the distillery." And this guy said, "Oh, that place is a tourist trap. I'll take you." So he took us to Glendronach, where we got a private tour by the manager of the distillery, including a wee dram from the bottle in the bottom drawer of his desk. And unfortunately, they don't export Glendronach. Every time I was in Europe after that, I would buy a bottle. I'm down to about an inch in the bottle of the very last bottle I had. But we had a lovely time, even without the various contacts that so many of you had. Maybe I'll do your next tour.
Great, thank you. And I do love Glendronach.
Judy, they do import Glendronach because I see it in Virginia here all the time.
Yeah, I
Oh,
do too.
no, I haven't found it anywhere I've been, and they didn't at that time. That was 35 years ago.
Go to your local liquor store, they'll import it for you. It's a lovely whiskey with a sherry cask finish.
Oh, I know it's lovely.
Yes, we all love our whiskey.
Oh,
Mhm. I saw you, Leslie. Who else would like to share your trips?
Mine is tea, just saying.
What's that? Oh, tea, okay. Well, there are a few other people here that I do want to have say a few words. I see Kathy McCausland's here and Jean. Kathy, I don't see you, but I see your picture. Can you talk a bit about the Ancestry Project?
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna start the video here.
Oh, there you are. And where are you from, Kathy?
My updated self, yeah. I'm Catherine Forbes McCausland, and I've been a member, I guess, I was a member of the older group. So fortunately, I did get your email when you restarted the society. So my involvement has mainly been in doing some work on the Forbes family tree on Ancestry. And Bart kindly started the tree and put in a lot of the lords and, you know, built a good framework there. But Jean and I have been volunteering and going through the main sort of our Bible, the House of Forbes book that was written in the 1930s and printed in Edinburgh, and then using other documents also, and adding the cadet lines, the lines that were Forbes descendants, but were not the direct Forbes lords. And most of us are descended from these cadet lines. And we follow them as far as we can, many of them into the 1900s, in some in America. So what our goal is when people, anyone, not even necessarily society members, go on and find it, it's a public tree, so they go on Ancestry, and they might find some of their ancestry and, you know, become more interested in the genealogy portion. And thanks to Bart's wonderful articles that you put on Facebook, those are just great. I love those. So I'm hoping that those will generate a lot of interest in people's, you know, love of ancestry or their ancestors.
Thank you for your work. Jean, any comments? Or again, I want to thank you very much for your work as well.
Catherine, question?
Yes.
When you say those are public on Ancestry, do you mean they're available on the free wikis? Or do you mean you still have to be a member of Ancestry?
Oh, you do have to be a member of Ancestry, but it's what they call a public tree as opposed to a private tree. So once you're on Ancestry, you can access the tree. It's called House of Forbes. Yeah.
Yes, Lori, did you wave? Turn your mute off.
I did. I finally figured out how to get a picture on. But how do you find that tree on Ancestry? What do you put in the search?
Well, Bart, you started it. It's under your name, right?
Well, yes, it's
I
under,
found
it's under Clan Forbes. You go to the top bar, do a search tree, and then you just search for House of Forbes or Clan Forbes. I think it's House of Forbes. And then you click
Okay.
on the logo that comes up with the Clan Forbes logo. But the name of the tree is House of Forbes. If you email me,
Okay.
I will send you directions.
Okay, thank you. And it was nice to meet you. I didn't say that before, but it's nice to meet everybody too. Now you can see me.
Is Jean on? I thought I saw her at one point.
I'm on. I'm Jean Gore, and I'm a transplanted Yankee to Abilene, Texas, which is about 450 miles east of BART in El Paso on I-20. It's just right down the road. And it is hot here too. I am originally from New York State, and my ancestors were silversmiths in New York City from early 1800s to the late 1800s. And my great-great-grandmother was a Forbes. My paternal great-grandmother was a Forbes, and she was born in New York City. And I've had great fun working with Catherine and the ancestry part of the program. I've kind of fallen by the wayside because I do a lot of other things too, and I'm real busy right now. Now that COVID is letting people have things public, I haven't helped Catherine much in the last month or so, but I'll get back to you, Catherine. I promise. I promise.
And Jean, what do you owe me?
What do I owe you?
An article?
Oh. Well, in fact, had we not had this Zoom meeting this afternoon, I was working. Bart asked me a few months ago, and I told him about my silversmith ancestry, if I would write an article about the Forbes silversmiths. And so I'm working on it.
Thank you.
Coming slowly, but I'm working on it when I can. It'll have pictures of some of the silver. I'm in possession of some of the silver that the Forbes from the 1800s manufactured. So I'm trying to take pictures and illustrate with the appropriate silversmith. There were about, I think it's 5 or 6 of the sons, brothers, fathers, grandfathers. I'm writing about it, so someday.
Great, thank you.
Hold a lot for me.
Since we're talking about Texas, I hope Rick Forbes is not driving, but just as a passenger in a car.
I was just going to ask where he was going because he's been driving that car this whole meeting.
Honey, he's from Texas.
I had to escape the Texas heat because, in the COVID, and we finally got a chance. We're up in Colorado now.
Ooh, I'm jealous.
Just got in. Yeah, it's very nice. So I apologize for the.
Oklahoma is a suburb of Texas.
Yeah, I live in North Dallas.
Oh, your sound is coming off, Rick, so we'll catch up with you. We can't hear your sound. Rick is the convener for Texas for Clan Forbes, and so I'm glad to have him here as well. So yeah, maybe he probably lost his coverage.
I wanted to put a face to everyone's.
Okay. Are there any questions?
I'm up in the mountains, so.
Okay. Are there any more questions from anybody or comments? I can go through y'all, so you better have a question or a comment. Let's start with the farthest of us. Bjorn, glad to have you here.
Yes, thank you. Bjorn Benser from Stockholm, Sweden. And I'm wondering, am I the only one from Sweden or Scandinavia in this society? Do you know?
I do know, and you're not. I have a member from Finland.
Oh, okay.
And so
the Forbes are.
And because of your interest, I wrote that article about the Forbeses in Sweden. So
yeah.
I just got an inquiry from a Forbes in India. So as people show an interest, I'll do research. But I do have two Forbeses, 2 members from the Scandinavian nations.
All right.
But
yeah,
you
Forbes
you have family, right?
Yeah. And it was Jacob Forbes coming to Sweden in the army. He was a captain in the army of Sweden. He was born in Aberdeen, and he came to Sweden 1580 or something like that. And no, he was born 1580, and he became a captain in the Swedish army. And his descendants finally became me. So because of his actions in the army, he became a knight of nobility. The family of Forbes of Lund, they were called, they got how do you say, knighthood or something like that. But that side, because the paternal side died 1830 or something like that, so that continues down on my grandmother's side. So yeah, so it's really interesting.
Arvid Forbes was a great general.
Yeah, Arvid Forbes, he was a general, but that was Jacob Forbes' grandson or something like that. That was later on.
I have a question. I think there were a whole group of sort of mercenaries that went to fight for King Adolphus. Is that right?
Yeah.
That time, yeah.
Maybe not. Yeah, sort of mercenaries. They were paid army, but I guess people were in those days. They were not mercenaries as we say today, but yeah.
Bart, Joyce Clark had her hand up earlier. I want to make sure we capture.
Yes,
I think Joan did earlier as well, or Joanne, excuse me, had her hand up earlier as well.
Go.
I wonder if I could ask a question. My name is John Clark. I'm right next to you. But we're just new members to the Forbes clan, and we've got quite a bit of work on the Gordons. And spending some time in Scotland, we had a week up there just wandering around, and we ran across. We got to James Forbes, who was around the Upper Towie area, and not far from there. And we've gotten interested in the Forbes clan and find it quite interesting. And I was wondering how would we best start with the one touch that we have to find out more about the Forbes? What would be the best way to get started?
My response is read the website. Just go through it. We have lots of information there. History, if you have a particular interest in a particular area of it, let me know. We can hook you up with somebody. But we have a lot of articles and a lot of blogs.
Thank you.
So that's a great story to start. Marja, I see you're here as well. Thank you for joining us. All right, take yourself off mute. I don't see a video, but I see your audio. Marja, Lenov? No? No? Okay. Let's go down through Rick and Catherine, Jerry. Joan, hi. I see you. You're smiling.
Good to see you.
Have you been to Scotland, or what are your observations or recommendations?
Yes, I have, actually. I'm actually Joan Mitchie from Potomac, Maryland. And Mitchie has always been associated with the Forbes clan. I'd love to learn more about that connection. I haven't been greatly successful in that, and I'd love to learn more. I have been to Scotland 3 times. The first time was in 1960 when I was very little, and I was there with my family. As part of the trip, we went to Alva, Scotland, and it's a very tiny little town along the textile route. And that's where my grandfather was born in 1867. And we went around and talked to some of the older people, and they pointed out houses. Having now looked at the census during that time, it turns out they moved multiple times throughout this little town. And then I've been 2 other times to Scotland, obviously more recently. One of them included a visit to Findhorn, and that's where the flowers behind me come from, Findhorn, Scotland. So I really look forward to the Forbes trip. Now even more so, having seen the photos. I was excited before and now even more so. So
Great.
let's
Thanks for
hope
joining
for
us.
next year.
Steve Barry, I'm glad you're able to join us. You can take your mute off, tell us where you're from and some of your interests with travel or about the society.
Steve Barry here. I'm from the older previous society. I'm located in Tallahassee, Florida, not far from the historic Forbes purchase, and which in this part of the country, the earliest Forbes activity dates back to 1781. And it's also the area of the largest litigation in the history of the United States, dating from about 1818 to 1902.
Yep.
Regarding the Forbes purchase and the heirs and all of that. So the Forbes activity in this area from 1781 forward was responsible for generating a lot of the economic development of the southeastern United States. At one point, one of the Forbes warehouses had 250,000 deer hides in it for export to London. And I still try to wrap my head around that commerce. So we have a lot of Forbes-related history in this area, and some of that is on our website. I want to express my gratitude to those who have restarted the Clan Forbes Society, and I'm very impressed, very pleased with what you have accomplished with the website. I'm very grateful for setting up this Zoom call. Maybe we can have some sort of Forbes reunion, maybe once a year like this or something, and to stay in touch and to continue to build the Clan Forbes Society in the U.S. The stories presented here are just phenomenal. And if there's some way we can get those testimonials on the web for people to read or in the newsletters or something, that's just outstanding. I used to man the Forbes tent up at Stone Mountain for many years. My brother used to do it for many years. And I'm one of the founders of a Highland game down here in Tallahassee. We had upwards of 35,000 people in attendance. So, we're looking at how to possibly restart that in the next few years. So, but I'm grateful for all that you are doing with the website and getting it restarted. The content on it is just tremendous.
Okay.
And I'll get around to ordering the books and getting all that. If any of you remember the old genealogy book that we did back in 88, 89, I think Ted Forbes headed that up. I'm in the book, and I say that with a great deal of pride. And I hope that sometime we can do an update, because now I've got a grandbaby, and I'd like to get her somehow recorded in our history.
Right.
So, but I'm very grateful and very pleased to be a part of this, and my congratulations to all.
Thank you, Steve. In fact, the directory we had was actually head up by Stephanie Hayward, who's now helping with our Ancestry.com project, and it is available on the website in the members section. So you can download the whole PDF of the directory. It was, I think, finally published in 1990, I believe. And I'm just betting that Ann Forbes will help you out in getting together for other clan gatherings in Florida. Am I right, Ann?
Absolutely, absolutely. I was thinking I would like to step up and volunteer for that. So I'm so sad to report the one I was hoping to attend in January again this year is not going to happen. They've already postponed it to the next year, but looking forward to 2022.
Natalie, you've been quiet. I see you. Could you unmute, tell us where you're from and some of your observations about the clan tours or what you'd like to do for the future?
Well, I'm new to this society, although I've known about my former relatives. Sadly, my connections are both, I've got two lines that connect into two separate lines of Forbes. One that connects to Lori Caldwell's line that she was talking about with the Reverend Forbes, which was the Forbes people that came in. So I grew up in Michigan, but I live in Colorado. And then I have the other line. I don't quite have it figured out who they know, but I don't think anybody does yet. There's connection possibly to James, Captain James Forbes. But I have not been to Scotland yet. I did a trip a couple years ago to England, visited places that people were born in 1400 and, you know, flipped out and really hadn't focused on my Scottish line. And then went, why am I not looking at this? And I went back and started looking at my Scottish line and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to join all these clans. And so I'm, you know, excited and looking forward to, I've enjoyed the website. I've enjoyed the information that a lot of it I already had, but it's still nice to like see it all in one place. So, you know, just looking forward to seeing what you guys are all about.
Great. Thank you. We only have about 2 minutes left. Charles, are you still with us? Do you have a couple of words for us? And unmute yourself and tell us where you're from. If not, then William, I see you're online. Unmute yourself. Say hey.
Hello.
There you go. William, where are you from?
I live in Texas. I grew up in Connecticut, and I've been over to Scotland about 5 times.
Wow. Great. Glad to have you with us. We're
Thank
down
you.
to the last 2 minutes, so I want to close out because our session will end. I just want to say that I am daily inspired by our common heritage of the House of Forbes and by all of you. Some of you are new to the society, some have been around with the old society, and I receive a lot of email from a lot of people, and it feeds me, it encourages me on. And I just want to thank you all, cousins, for being a part of the society. And remember too, this is your society. I put in maybe 30 hours a week because I love this stuff and I'm retired. But it's because of your engagement that really helps me go on. As Jim mentioned, we could use your help in time. I'm looking at you, Jean Gore, in your article. But all of you have stories to tell. And I want the website to be the site where you can share those stories. Because with your help, we can achieve much more for so many more of our cousins and family members. So thank you all so very much for joining us today. Grace me guide and good night.
Thank you, Bart.
Thank you, Bart. Yes, thank you very much.
And we'll be in touch with you to do
Stay
another
safe,
one.
everybody.
The
Stay
next one.
safe. We'll do another one. We'll be in touch.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you.
Grace be guide.
Bye.
Grace be guide.
Thank you.
Grace be guide.
Thank you.